Welcome everybody to the Tea with Ms McGill Show, presented by Blue Line Brews from the Blue Line Brews Studios, our new Blue Line Brews Studios. A couple things on Blue Line Brews. Of course, you know, mission-based coffee, 10% of profits, help families of fallen or wounded officers. We've talked about that a little bit. Be watching for these packages. They're starting to show up on the range at some stores near you. So keep an eye out. They might be hanging. Someone might poke a little hole. Or they might be standing. So keep an eye out for Blue Line Brews. Also, bluelinebrews.com. If you go down in the show notes, we'll have the link over. There's a promo code now, save 15. You type in the promo code there as you're checking out, save 15%. All right, save 15. Blue Line Brews, big thanks to them. And of course, the beautiful studio we've got here. We're on Goat Sports Media, so go ahead and subscribe so you don't catch, or so you do catch what we have coming up. So pump that subscribe button. I am Puka. This is Reed Larson, and we're covering another big week of high school hockey.
Yeah, let's talk some high school hockey. We've had some interesting games. We've had some blowouts, but again, another week of high school hockey for us to talk about here in the Northland. Iron Range hockey, Duluth area hockey, and now we're kind of expanding over to the Brainerd Lakes area too with some of our new sponsorships. So we'll talk about some of that stuff as well.
Exactly. All right, so I was going to start. I caught some of the Falls Hibbing game up at Bronco Arena a week ago tomorrow, Thursday last week. Hibbing ends up winning the game, penalty filled game, 8-4, but 4-3 for a while in the middle of the second. Falls never gave up. We talked a little bit about early in our preseason show how the numbers are a little down, but I was really impressed with the effort that International Falls, put forth on Thursday night.
Yeah, you know what? It doesn't matter the year. You can talk about this team's low on numbers. This team's struggling. I don't care what year it is, how good or bad they are. It's always a really difficult place to play at Bronco Arena. For whatever reason, you're not only battling the Broncos, you're battling the ghosts from the rafters. You're battling, the referees. You're battling the fans. I can tell you as a coach, there's always people sitting right behind you when you're there, and there's their kids talking to you in your ear as the coach. There's parents talking to you in your ear, chirping you. It's it's a tough place to play.
Yeah,
it is
on the ride. And then remember, it used to stink when we were with kids. The
Yeah.
paper mill. I don't know I think they cleaned all that up with the sulfur and stuff. But yeah, you roll into town. It was always cold, long ride. Like I was telling you in the pre-show that. I think I won one game up there all through youth hockey, high school hockey, even a year at community college. Tough place to play. I agree.
It is. It's a tough place to play. And I guess the only claim to fame as a coach is we went on a stretch there in Virginia where I think we didn't lose for 4 years in Bronco Haven. But there were many a time going up there where, in the 7 years we lost going up there, we tied going up there. There was many times in high school hockey where when I played for Grand Rapids, back when Grand Rapids used to play International Falls, it was a battle. So it's always a tough place to play. Even when we were on that stretch in Virginia where we won like 4 years in a row going there, none of them came easy. None of them.
And come to think of it, they had that fire there a couple 3 years ago. I didn't even think of it at the time. So yeah, obviously good to have just Bronco Arena there at this point. I think it was kind of up in the attic, up in the rafters or something.
Yep.
But I didn't think of it while I was watching the game. So like I said, good effort put together by International Falls up there. All right, so a quick word, Iron Range Apparel, Thunderbird Mall in Virginia. Hats, hoodies. They've got, darn it, I had my little, I don't have my phone with me, but all kinds of, like I said, stocking caps. They've got the Ham's beer guy. They got him on some Vikings type stuff. They got him on some Minnesota hockey kind of stuff. So they got the Ham's bear. Like I said, the ODR line, outdoor rink hockey, is exclusively there right there at Iron Range Apparel. So check them out, Iron Range Apparel, Thunderbird Mall in Virginia. We're obviously into the holidays here, so you can find gifts. There's all kinds of knickknacks, crafty type items too. So if you're looking for that perfect gift for your wife, girlfriend, or both, that's the place that you want to go, Iron Range Apparel, Thunderbird Mall. All right, let's move on to Saturday. Big game right here in Rapids for Section 7, Grand Rapids Forest Lake. I guess we'll start. We talked a little about this in the pre-show too. Pipes, crossbars, never seen so many in a game. Your thoughts?
Yeah, sometimes and we've kind of been on a little bit of a stretch here with Grand Rapids where we've I don't want to say played a bad schedule, but we just played kind of off a AA schedule. Obviously, Forsyth is a AA team, but we had played some teams before that are a little down and out, and had some lopsided games. And for lack of a better way of saying it, I think we've gotten to the point in some of those games where we've gotten away with doing some things that you're not going to get away with doing, when you're playing teams like Roseau or Moorhead or some of the top teams in the state. Go out to the Edina Classic and play Edina and Eden Prairie. You're not going to get away with doing some of those things. And you do against some of the teams that you're beating 11-0 and 12-0. So going into that game, Forest Lake is actually a really structured team. They're well coached. They're a AA team. They're a Section 7 AA program, and they came in working hard. They were structured. Their goalie played good. And you know what? You can say a lot of pipes in that game for Rapids. Yeah. And that usually says that the goalie's probably got himself a really good angle, because if it's not hitting him and it's hitting the pipe, he's still taking the angle away. Yeah, but there was a little bit of unlucky bounces for Grand Rapids in that game. Early on, it was a close game. Late in the game, we found the back of the net quite a few times, and then ended up with a decisive win. But
yeah, and that was all in about the last 7 minutes.
Yeah, it could have been a heck of a lot worse. But
yeah, it could have. Well, like you said, a matter of inches.
Yeah,
I mean, I wish I would have counted. You just think of this stuff, and at least a dozen.
Yeah,
and both teams, but mainly Grand Rapids. So an inch this way, inch that way, and it could have been a 6-0. 5 minutes into the second period.
Yeah, really. We talked about it. It's actually kind of a funny ha-ha joke in the coach's room. Not so much when we get in the locker room. It's a little bit more serious. Like, hey, we got to keep things going. We have to be ready to play some of the higher end teams. We have to play Let's Way every single night. We're a little more serious going in the locker room, but in the coach's room, it's kind of ha-ha. Like, how many pipes did we actually hit? Did we hit 10 that period? We might have.
These two in the first period, ripped that crossbar.
Yeah, so that happens too. It's some of those nights. Sometimes it's just one of those nights where you're unlucky in certain situations. The goalie's doing a really good job of taking angles away. You're unlucky. Your shots are hitting pipes, they're hitting iron, and they're not hitting twine in the back of the net. And that was what's happening early in that game. Yeah.
All right. So one other thing I noticed there, a player ended up with 3 penalties, not bad penalties. I would call them more intensity penalties. A couple of times he kind of looking at the ref, like, what did I do? Why did I have a call? As a coach, what do you do in that situation?
Yeah. I think you kind of, you have to look at the situation. It isn't always what most people are looking at it as, okay, 3 penalties. Is he playing, a cheap game? No, he's not. It's in this situation, or in that situation, as a coach, you have to look at the type of penalties that are being taken, and you have to evaluate that with the player. Not being specific with any specific players, but you have to see with that player, are they hardworking penalties? Are they moving your feet? Are you finishing your checks? Is it just unlucky bounces, unlucky breaks or calls by the referees? Or are they, and as a coach, you can also say, is he taking lazy penalties? You have to make those decisions. And as a coach, that's an easy one for me. If I look at a guy and he's moving his feet and he's finishing checks and he's doing everything he can and he's just not getting a break, the referees, you know what, just keep playing. We're going to do the best we can to kill penalties off. And obviously we did that in that Rapids game, but it's something you have to revisit after the game. Like, hey, what's going on? Are we doing this or that? But, in that situation, the players that we had weren't taking dumb penalties. It just were happening.
Yeah.
Hard work.
I completely agree. Is there a maximum number of penalties in the high school league?
I can't even answer that question. I know that the rule of youth hockey changed. Somebody told me that there was a rule change, and I was supposed to watch the rules on Terp, which I did, but sometimes you just nod off a little bit when you're watching those. I don't remember if the number, youth hockey used to be 5, and I think they changed it to 4. If you get 4 penalties, you're out for the rest of the game and you're out the next game. I don't think it is for high school, but don't quote me on it. I can't. I guess I'm not the guy that has to know that. Head coach has to know.
Right.
So
yeah, I just, as you were talking, I could see that. The high school league, some certain amount of penalties, they're just going to, gonna chuck you.
Yeah, you can always err to the fact that if it's 4 or 5 penalties, you either have really bad luck or something's going on that we need to visit with. Maybe we're sitting the kid down to try and talk with them a little bit about what's going on tonight.
Totally. All right. Quick word from our friends over at the Rink Sports Bar in Evelyn, just down the road from the United States Hockey Hall of Fame. Daily happy hour, nightly specials, and the big time Friday fish fry. That's where you for sure want to get over there. The Rink Sports Bar, and grill.com. You can just order right online. 218-248-8582. Give them a call. You can order and also be watching. I'm in contact with them right now. They're getting ready to launch. It sounds like this gift card special where you'll be able to, whatever you buy 20 and get, don't quote me on this. But something to the tune of, buy a $20 gift card, get $5 free, something like that. We'll let you know as soon as that comes. I think it's getting really close on that. So a big thank you to the Rink Sports Bar, like I said, just on from the Hockey Hall of Fame, right off Highway 53 in Evelyn. All right, Friday night, I made the trip over to the Memorial Building in Hibbing. Haven't been to a Hibbing High School game in, boy, I think Perunovich was still playing in high school. I think the last time that was at a game. It's been a long time. This was kind of the game I previewed last week on our way out of the show. Hibbing Rock Ridge, pretty good battle. Classic Iron Range battle, 20-19. Rock Ridge outshoots Hibbing. Rock Ridge gets a late goal on a power play. Hibbing, kind of I don't want to say a dominating win. It's a 4-1 win on the, final score. Obviously, Rock Ridge outshoots them. It just seemed like it was one of those games where Rock Ridge, they played everything fine, except they just didn't have any scoring chances. It's kind of what the difference ended up being.
Yeah, sometimes you get into that issue, and sometimes, I think every team has that issue. I think we have that issue once in a while too, where you're in a funk, you can't find the back of the net, and the only thing you can do is continue to grind away. It's find ways to get everything to the net, find ways to get bodies in front of the goalie, find ways to get the goalie moving side to side. The next day in practice, they're probably going to tip drills. Rock Ridge isn't finding the back of the net. What do we have to do? It sounded like they're getting opportunities. They're getting shots. Typically, when you get high shot volume and no pucks in the back of the net, they're usually perimeter shots. Yeah. It's usually a shot from the point all the time or a shot from outside the dots. No extra rebounds, things of that nature. So what you do in the next day of practice is you're taking drive drills that you're driving pucks to the net. You're moving pucks out to the point. They're taking shots. Guys are tipping and screening shots, and you're forcing them to bury pucks before you get to the next group. They might be out there for 15 seconds whacking away at the same puck until it gets in the back of the net. No, you're not done until this thing gets to the back of the net. It's just a matter of continuing to work through some of those, growing pains of not scoring goals. It can be a sickness sometimes. It really can. It can be over time. It can turn into a head game with teams like, oh, we just can't figure out how to bury the puck. We're struggling. We're this, and then they're down in the dumps, and guys are losing confidence. So you have to find ways to build that confidence in practice. And I'm sure Coach Ben Johnson and Coach Kobe are coming up with, creative ways to get guys excited in practice. I just remember back in the day in high school, what we used to do in practices with my buddies when we played is we have competitions. No matter which drill we were running in practice, how many goals did you score in this drill? Whoever had the most goals at the end of the day is buying the other, is getting a pop from the other guys. I mean, we constantly kept track of it in practice. That was, I had 6 in this drill or whatever it was. And guys were chirping each other when they weren't getting it and giggling and laughing. And you have to find a way to get that competition back even in practice so you can work through some of those growing pains.
Yeah. Speaking of growing pains, so 0-2 Rock Ridge, things don't get any easier at Warroad Friday night.
Yeah, and we're hoping in Grand Rapids that they wear Warroad down a little bit, but we're up in the by the Canadian border as well this weekend. We're going to be in Roseau on Friday night and Warroad on Saturday, and Rock Ridge is in Warroad on Friday night. So that's the hope, is that they wear them down just a little bit. They're going to another really difficult place to play. You get into those Warroad Gardens, and they've got a wide sheet of ice, and Warroad knows how to use it. They've got some skilled players there. They've got a player that moved in from the USHL that has been there for a couple of years, came back, big kid. They've got the Shagaby kid there. They've got some guys that can put pucks in the net. Rock Ridge is going to have their work cut out for them. They really are. They're going to have to figure out a way to be structured. They're going to have to figure out a way to be disciplined, because the last thing on the face of the earth that Rock Ridge wants to do is put Warroad on the power play.
Yeah, definitely. So good luck to you guys, Rock Ridge. I believe it's Friday, like I said, Warroad, and then Saturday, I believe it's Lake of the Woods. So best wishes there. Word from Minnesota Hockey Camps.
Yeah. So another new sponsor. Puka's got the the t-shirt on. I got the hat on here today from Minnesota Hockey Camps, and newer sponsor here just the last week, Minnesota Hockey Camps. It dates back to just after the 1980 Olympics that Herb Brooks and Chuck Carrillo put this camp in, and the camp's mission was to design a camp to develop elite hockey players. And it's been well known over the past couple of decades as the camp where the pros train. Guys like TJ Oshie, Scott Hartnell, Chris Stewart, current owner. These guys are people that have come back year in and year out to train with the staff that's there that works with these kids. It was in Nisswa at Minnewawa Lodge is where they used to have the camp. Chuck Carrillo passed it on to his son Dino back in 2018. Dino, because of COVID, he and his wife, Dean and Carrie, decided to put the camp up for sale. Picked up last year by new ownership group, Chris Stewart, Craig Larson, and Tony Massieri. Craig, my brother. They decided to pick the camp up and move it. They now run the camp out of the Breezy Point Arena in Breezy Point, Minnesota, still keeping the brand Minnesota Hockey Camps, and still with the same mission that they've always had to develop elite hockey players. The mission of greatness is what they've always had. So if you're looking for an awesome summer hockey camp where you're planning to develop into an elite hockey player, you get dry land training, you get 2 times on ice. They stay out of the dorms in Breezy Point. They get well fed catered through Massieri's restaurant, who is one of the owners, Massieri's restaurant in Cross Lake. So they take care of that, and they really do a fine job. And, like I said, current owner Chris Stewart spent many years going to that camp before he and my brother and Tony got together and said, let's buy this thing. Let's keep the tradition going. So Minnesota Hockey Camps, and they tie into the Minnesota Loons, the NA3HL team, same ownership group that also plays junior team that plays out of Breezy Point.
Yeah, sure. All right. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming on board. We really appreciate it. All right. Let's little previewing here for next week or coming week here. You have any games that are kind of on the radar for you?
Yeah. So, obviously there's a big game on the radar here. I'll kind of touch base on one we talk about here from last night. We watched a game last night in between periods. Well, we had our high school game in Grand Rapids last night. In between periods, we were in the coach's room watching Moorhead and Roseau play on the live stream, which was a real big, important game for us. We had Proctor in the building. We played Proctor. Proctor had a fantastic goalie last night, stood on his head, saw 60 shots. We ended up finding a way to put 7 by him with Grand Rapids. But in between periods, of course, coaching staff is going in and looking at the live stream, and we're looking at Moorhead and Roseau because our next opponent is Roseau on Friday night, and that is slated out as one of the games to watch in the state of Minnesota. The 2 teams from the north that should be, staring at the opportunity of playing for a section championship. Roseau probably and most likely be playing for a section championship against Moorhead in Section 8, and likely Grand Rapids with the opportunity to play for a section championship against a team like Andover or somebody like that in Section 7. So that's a big game that's ahead of us here this week. Friday, like I said, Grand Rapids goes up to Roseau. That's a game to look at.
Yeah. Incidentally, 7, I got it here. 7-4 win or 7-6 win, Roseau overboard, 4-goal explosion in the second period for the Rams, put them over the top.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. Like I said, we're sitting here coaching a hockey game and then coming in to the coach's room and watching the live stream and the TV in the coach's room from Roseau and Moorhead. Moorhead and Roseau, and it was in Moorhead. So, you got Spud TV and we're watching it going, okay, this is what we're looking at. These teams they're phenomenal teams. They're great. And that's the level that we want to be playing at, come the end of the year. We're hitting a really tough skid here with Grand Rapids High School. We've got 5 road games. We're up by Canada with Roseau and Warroad. Then the next week we head down to the Edina Classic for 3 games with the Edina, Eden Prairie, and Elk River.
Giddy up, man. You guys, you're getting into the real deal part of the schedule. So I did see in the box scores too, Tom Murphy, of course, Grand Rapids alumni, his son, but there's another strand. So those of you who've been following high school hockey up in Roseau, these Strand boys been coming through. They're all good. And I think he was one of the leaders.
Max Strand is a
Max,
phenomenal
okay,
hockey
yeah.
player. He is one that I remember well because this group that is graduating seniors this year, or excuse me, in 2022 here for the Grand Rapids team. I also coached when they were Bantam AA's, and we played against that same team with an opportunity to go to the state Bantam AA tournament, and Roseau came out on top of that one. But the Strand kid was on that team. They had the same coach at the time. Now as Tom Murphy is the new head coach in Roseau. He was the head coach of the Bantam AA
I didn't
team.
know Tom got the job.
Yep. So Tom Murphy is there.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
He's
wow.
the head coach.
Okay.
His boy, Kellen Murphy, is one of their star players on that team. So it's kind of interesting because Tom Murphy was on that Bantam bench. I was on the Bantam bench for Grand Rapids.
And now
I'm on the staff for Grand Rapids for the
Well-
high school. Tom Murphy's the head coach there. So it kind of a good little matchup. It should be fun to watch with that particular game.
Awesome. Is that going to be streamed anywhere?
I would assume that Roseau has got something that's
Something
going to be going. You might have to pay for it, but Roseau will have something.
Okay, we'll catch that one. All right, the one I got my eye on tomorrow night, Cloquet Lumberjacks at Denfeld. The Hunters currently ranked 6th in single A. I think it's gonna be a great matchup. I think I got to give Denfeld the edge on this one.
Yeah, I don't disagree, although I do have a lot of respect for Shea Walters and Scotty Kitchell in Cloquet, the AA program, and they've been working hard through some pains that they've dealt with the last couple of years with association and Cloquet Esco Carleton. They're doing a really good job, but I got to tell you, Dale Jago, the head coach for Denfeld, has done some great things since he's taken over. The program's gone in the right direction since he's taken over, and nothing against Coach Smalley. Smalley had that program going well too. So it's been well coached. It's been going in the right direction. There's maybe been a down year here and there, but it went right from one coach with Kevin Smalley that was doing the right things, right to Dale Jago that's doing the right things. And now it's just starting to get to an elite level. And Dale Jago, you're going to likely see a Dale Jago Denfeld Hunters team in the section final against Hermantown. And we know likely what the result probably will be, but I'll tell you what, if they're going to go down, they're going to go down fighting. Yeah, that's going to be a big game to watch. And if I have to pick a side, which I don't want to, because I like both of these teams, both of these coaches, I'd probably take the Denfeld Hunters.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a good one. And of course, the McClure boys are clicking. That's for sure. On separate lines this year, I noticed too.
Yep.
I think they got them separated.
They're players. They both played in the Elite League and they had good years.
Good. All right, just a couple of scores to run past for you. Superior Spartans 6-2 over Duluth Marshall. North Shore 3-1 over Ely. Warroad 4, Bemidji 3. How about this one? Hermantown 4, Hill Murray 1. So big win. And I heard that one was there. That's what someone told me. I'm not sure, but that's kind of what I heard.
Yeah, they beat Benilde too, and I can't remember the score of that game. They did
yeah.
beat Benilde as well.
So heck of a road trip for the Hawks. And like you said, definitely the favorites in the section. All right, that pretty much wraps it up. Anything else to add?
No, just looking forward to, like we said, another fine week of high school hockey. We have some big games this weekend. Feel free to tap right in and give a share, give a follow. We will have our stream, we'll have our programming going up on Goat Sports Media. We also have the Facebook page, your favorite podcast that you go to. We've got that going as well, whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcast, we'll be there too as well. So don't be afraid to share it. Don't be afraid to send it out there. Don't be afraid to tag your favorite hockey guru and pop them in there. We've had a good amount of views in the last week that people are digging into the show here and liking to listen to World T with Ms McGill.
Little recap here, but yeah, that's exactly. If you're a student athlete, share it with your buddies. If you're a parent, make sure your student athlete knows about it. If you're a student athlete and you're a hockey player and you say, geez, maybe my dad or mom would like this, or my uncle would, feel free to share all that out. Anything in the comments, let us know what you're thinking or any comments on what we said. Please share that. If you want something a little bit more private, Goatsportsmediallc @gmail.com so you can get a hold of us. Of course, we've been talking about this for Christmas. We got the merch. So if you're looking for that perfect gift for dad, look at that.
That's looking good.
Who doesn't want a tea with Ms McGill tea? So just email us or comments or something like that. We can find a way to catch up and get those to you. It's $20 for a t-shirt, no problem. Thanks once again. Blue Line Brews behind us. Iron Range Apparel, ODR, the Outdoor Rink Line is where you can get that stuff exclusively. The Rink Sports Bar and Grill, Minnesota Hockey Camps, of course. Big thank you. Appreciate everything you're doing. Iron Range Goalie Academy's coming on board a little bit too. Listen, thanks everyone. It's been great. Listen, we're cranking here now. I feel like we're in the middle of, everyone's what? Well, not everyone.
Mid-season
Rock
form.
Ridge is 0-2, but I mean 0-2 only. But most teams have got what 5-7 games under their belt.
Yeah, yeah.
We're-
And those that are critical about the 0-2 for Rock Ridge, be patient. Be ready to watch some coaching take over. Ben Johnson and Ryan Colby and Evan Freely are going to be rolling with that program. You watch.
Awesome. Well, good luck, to that squad. Like I said, up north this week and along the border. For Reed Larson, I am Puka. Get out there and be your dream. You're tuned to the Tea with Ms. McGill show.